I go into a climbing gym, it's like, okay, I start on the easy one. Like they got a list of easy and hard. Whereas on the streets doing parkour, like it's entirely internal, that feeling of how hard something is. So if you found it hard, like you don't have this number to tell you that you're a beginner. Like you feel like a legend. Like you feel,
Right.
like, you just feel great because that was really scary. I couldn't do it a couple of times, and now I've done it, and now it's easy, and I can try the next thing and whatever. And you have no number to tell you that you're not good. Like so,
Sure.
the early days for a beginner in parkour is, I think, yeah, oh, brilliant to watch. Yeah, it's amazing. But it's just like it's all so relative. It's just like there's so much stuff out on your front doorstep that you can try. If you want to climb hard, you have to get really strong. Like there's a process to a very long process of discipline that gets you to a strength where you can actually achieve certain grades or whatever. Like, but
Right.
parkour strength and power are obviously important, but the type of strength you need for certain moves that are now like, you know, pushing the envelope of like what is possible. You don't actually need to be crazy strong. It's like it's all technique and mindset around the progression and learning the right progressions, different progression steps to get that move. Like I could do like the craziest new move ever with my like strength, but I wouldn't need to like train physically like to get stronger to do it. As I might be butchering this, but like it's, for example, basically you can do parkour at climbing equivalent of V17 without spending loads of time in a gym getting stronger legs and doing all this. It's all technique and mental game take you way further in parkour than it does in climbing. So
Sure.
it example of like the internet pushing the sport is way more applicable because like kids literally go outside and can, with the tools they've got, with the strength they've got, can learn some of the moves that back in the day we would take athletes 15 years to get to just because you didn't know it was possible. Like it's yeah, no, it's a fascinating, and because parkour is so much younger as well, the progression's even more exponential than climbing. Like yeah, well, I mean, I'm technically first generation of like mainstream athletes, and like I'm only 30. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the, it's crazy. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
there's an interesting comparison or contrast to be made there with climbing in that maybe climbing's a little bit further. Maybe it's 20 years further forward or 30 years further forward
Mhm.
than parkour, kind of in that renaissance, that 2015 time that you're
Yeah,
talking about there. But gym climbing is still relatively new. I mean, Alex Honnold, as we were talking about, he kind of considers himself, part of that first crop of like gym climbers. Like he was a kid
yeah,
at a gym and then
mm,
moved outside. Okay. And so he and I are the same age. And, that's just, that's a current generation. Like those who are in their 40s right now are basically amongst the first who would maybe have
yeah,
trained regularly at a gym. Otherwise, you would see people out at the crag, out at the boulders, and that was
mm,
kind of the focus. More recently, are we now seeing climbing almost, kind of two sports? There's like outdoor climbing and there's indoor climbing.
yeah,
And a lot of the indoor climbing with modern setting is blending into this world of parkour a bit. And you've got a very unique perspective on both of these. And so I'm curious through the lens of parkour as well as through the lens of climbing, what are there are certainly advantages to maybe being trained in a gym as a parkour athlete or in a gym as a climber. Uh, but if ultimately you want to take that art form, that goal, that sport outdoors, when you see these parkour athletes who have been training in the gym and coming outdoors, uniquely they're quite strong. It sounds like, and they're very talented, as you said. There's another prodigy. There's another prodigy. But are there unique challenges as well to when that athlete now comes out and is hitting rooftops and hitting gaps and parking structures and construction sites that are obviously a quite a different environment than what they would maybe have experienced at a parkour
yeah.
gym or training as a ninja warrior, that kind of thing. All right, y'all, just a quick minute here to shout out today's sponsor, which is Scarpa. Oh, I'm so psyched. My very first pair of climbing shoes and approach shoes were by Scarpa, and I have loved them ever since. I'm so grateful that they're supporting the show here.
Y'all, whether you are smearing granite like Amity Warm, towing into steep pockets like Matty Hong, bouncing from volume to volume like Nathaniel Coleman, or tossing crazy heel hooks like Alex Puccio, Scarpa has got you. They have been making the best footwear for peak performance as well as sustainability since 1938. They are here to take care of your adventures. You can shop the entire collection at scarpa.com. Scarpa, no place too far. Let's get back to the video.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the transfer in terms of skill set is a lot more consistent. Like you do learn in a gym what you will be applying outside, really. Like, and it's sort of this. You say the same about climbing, really, but like everyone just gets shut down, don't they, on their first day on the rock, like outside.
Yeah.
The humbling that occurs, where you've come out of your nice plastic resin holds and like where all the footholds are, what you're doing, whatever, and you just get shut down. I think that's less of the case in parkour because the gyms are essentially made um, to replicate the streets, basically. They often actually come out with more skills than those that started on the streets because they have more bar setups and specific setups that are harder to find on the street. Like in the UK, for example, like our scaffolding just isn't built in a way that like is that good for learning swings and like that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Different places in the world, they miss out those like cross members that support, and like so different places in the world have gotten better at swinging, like different athletes based on where they grew up.
Interesting.
It changes the in everyone's style is totally dependent on the environment they grew up in the sport. Same in climbing, I guess, but yeah, the mental game is a whole different thing. Yeah, so they, these absolute weapons sometimes, yeah, will sort of emerge to come out on the streets and then just totally lock up on the rooftops, or like don't quite understand that you don't necessarily land on like the side of like a slate tile roof because your foot will just go through the thing and you'll send the tiles into the streets. Do you know what I mean? Like little things like that, which is
Yeah.
probably the same sort of thing as like a boulder grabbing like a pile of choss and pulling it off on their head. And you've got to do it to learn. You got to
Yeah.
get through that sort of process. But I think it's more applicable. Like if you, there used to be the case that like the gym kids, like it's not gonna translate well, but now the gyms are so well catered to train for outdoors that yeah, it's very quickly they come out and they just dominate on the streets, to be honest. And it's similar in the bowling situation, but the moment you get to like big walling and stuff, yeah, there's not really a comparison. Probably, I don't think there's a comparison in parkour in terms of the contrast from gym climbing to outdoors. Yeah.
Hey, if you like this video, check out what I got going on over on Patreon. I've got over 100 hours of videos and bonus episodes with the absolute biggest names in rock climbing, from Adam Ondra to Magnus Mitbo, Alex Honnold, basically everybody under the sun. They're all right there, and you can watch them for free right now with a 7-day trial.